Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in on another episode of Sam in the Van. Today's video is part 2 of a whole day excursion that I did in Mexico with my mom. Shout out to the tour guide Jerry, he was amazing. Everybody smile!
Where do you come from, girl?
British Columbia.
The beautiful British Columbia. And there was so much water that the water on the river erased the bridge.
Yes.
Wow.
The rocks.
Like hieroglyphics.
Yes.
Our driver takes us to this little hole in the wall, and already by 11 a.m. my mom and I are just beaming with excitement on this trip. Shout out to the tour guide Jerry, he was amazing. This tour was such a personal experience that I have never had before. He had so much information on the area, the history, and how things are made. So when we went to the first town, he explained a lot of things on the drive because it did take some time to get from Mazatlan to the first town that we went to. And then the next place that we went to, he continued the story. So it was really nice. When I edited the distillery video, I clipped in the audio of all of the information he was telling us and teaching us about the different tequilas, which was really good information. A lot of stuff I didn't know, and maybe my mom did because she's been on a tequila factory tour before, but I never have. This tequila distillery was pretty darn cool. It had upgraded from old school technology, but they had the old school technology still there, so you could still see it. And then there was the new school technology right next to it. So Jerry was telling us in the old days, they used to have a horse kind of mash the tequila. It would basically be tied and walk in a circle. Kind of pulled this machine that smushed it, and then they would put it in the ground and steam it. And then from there, it would go into the next step into the bottles or the barrels where it would get aged.
So now I have to be happy that we didn't eat too much so we can push the car on the river. Oh, yeah. We already passed that. Yeah, I forgot. Tequila wasn't the first beverage. That was mezcal. Mezcal is the root of everything. Out of mezcal came another different kind of beverage, like tequila. If you go to the center of the country, then you will find aguardiente, fire water, that you feel hot, you know?
Yeah.
Your lungs and your chest once you drink it. That is aguardiente. And then also, if you go to Sonora, then instead tequila, you will find bacanora. If you go to Chihuahua, you will find sotol. So there is different kind. If you go to the south, then you will find mezcal. Out of mezcal, 12 different beverages around the country, and tequila is the most popular. There is 140 kinds of agave.
Wow.
Out of that, just one, agave tequilana, it's what we call blue agave. It's the one you can get the tequila out of.
Right.
You know?
Reposado.
Yes, reposado is what we call rested or reposado.
We've seen one Joven, which is young.
The white one.
I don't remember what the
And I can't remember what the last one was.
Añejo.
Añejo?
Añejo is aged tequila.
Aged.
Okay. The wood where they put the tequila on it,
Yeah.
it's a white oak imported from the U.S. We don't have that kind of wood here.
No.
And they cure the wood and they fire the wood so it gets sealed.
neat too. One of my favorite things that I saw that he pointed out is there's actually a speaker in where there's the big, I want to say wood, but they're probably oak. But the big barrels that they store it in, there's actually a speaker up in the ceiling that you'll see me flash to at one point, and they actually play music because they've learned that the hertz from the music, the vibration from the music, helps impact the flavor. And where I came from in the Okanagan, there is actually a winery that has figured out this same thing, which I find really cool, and I think that humans are very much the same way. If we listen to higher frequency things or things with different vibrations, it affects us. So I thought that was really neat and definitely something that I took away and will remember for a long time to come.
And the reason they call blue is because it has a little layer of dust on the surface.
Right.
And it make it turn like blue. It looks like blue, but it's green. And the agave, well, the tequila could be white or joven, and then rested, reposado. The white could be out of the barrel or out of the process to 6 months to get bottled. Then the rested is 6 months to 18 months on the barrel. And then the age, that is from 18 months to 3 years. But it's not only that. Those guys, the one that we get into the tequila, and now they have this extra age tequila.
Extra age.
That is 5 years on the barrel.
Oh.
So they're smooth on the tasting.
And it's also like 9 years in the ground too, right? So like,
yes. So it is 9 years on the field plus 5 years on the barrel. So
along the floor, like while we're walking, there's piping through the ground system that takes it from one part of the facility to another part of the facility where they actually hold it in the barrels versus where they are going to test it and bottle it.
that a lot of people, they are just planting blue agave.
Yeah.
They got the blue agave on their business now because it's one of those that you can transplant, leave it right there for 7 or 9 years, so it can grow up by itself,
Right.
without any care. Just try to keep it clean, nice and clean. And now they have this extra age tequila.
Extra.
Because the alcohol is not that hard when you drink this one. You get all the flavor of the wood
Yeah.
and the little melts, you know. Ay, ay.
That's more of the sipping tequila than the
Yes.
cheap shot.
It is actually sip tequila.
Yeah,
It's not
flavors, the smells, it was all really good. And they have a huge lineup of different tequilas. I think there was 7 or 8 in total. There was like the 4 flavored ones, and then there's 3 that are sort of like the young aged and extra aged, and then there's a really, really fancy one. I'll do a little card with all of the options of just this one type. So crazy how many tequilas there are. There's only one tequila plant, but there's a lot of different derivatives or types that you can get from it, which I thought was really cool. I'm a huge tequila drinker. I named my cat after tequila, so this was a really awesome experience and one that I hope to remember for a long time to come.
Was everything, Samantha?
Fantastic.
Okay.
One other thing I thought was really interesting that Jerry shared with us, the import-export of tequila is very managed. Their alcohol content that they're allowed in Mexico is different than what they're allowed to export. It's actually lower. Hello, dog coming in hot. We were actually just at a dog park. There's a pop-up dog park right up there where that orange fencing is. Since I lost Hendrix, I come here quite a bit just to say hi to all the different doggies. I love dogs, and if I have an excuse to hang out in their vicinity without being a weirdo, I'll take it. Yeah, as I was saying before the dog interrupted me, the tequila that they import or keep for themselves or for in their own Mexico country, it's a lower alcohol percentage than what they're allowed to export, which I thought was very different, especially because the general vibe of Mexico is you're just drinking all the time. Like, they drink as soon as they wake up, but they don't, like, my mom and I thought it was weird because when we woke up at like 7 or 8, there's not a whole lot going on. It was hard for her to even find a cup of coffee because we weren't staying in a hotel, we were staying in an AirBNB, so it's a little different than having just go down to your all-inclusive bar and get whatever you want, right? So I found it interesting that their society drinks so much more, but what's allowed to be the bottle percentage is less. And maybe that is a conscious awareness because they're going to be drinking all day. So why not just make it less? Then you can enjoy more of it. Maybe that's the thought process. I'm not sure. But I did find that interesting. I found that different. And I didn't expect it, I think. Yeah, just another takeaway that I thought was interesting. A slight difference. And it's a very small number. I think it's only 2% or something like that. I asked Jerry roughly how many people he thought worked there, and it's actually a really small crew that work there. He said it's probably only about 20 people, which I thought was amazing for how big this production looks. The road in, we felt like we drove for at least 5 minutes just to get from like the highway in. So it's a really large property, but the thing about tequila is it takes a long time, so they need lots of space, and then you just kind of let it sit and wait before you start the process. It takes years to make tequila, so when you think about it being expensive, consider how much time it's taken for that team to make it. And really at the end of the day, we think these brands are massive productions, but once you get over to the facilities, you really realize that they're not. They just do the best that they can with what they have, which is amazing. And really, it's what we all start with somewhere. This is one of my favorite spots to hang out, but I don't hang out here for very long because there isn't a lot of parking. So I'm very mindful about my big truck or van taking up so much space. There are other van lifers that stay here, and that motorhome right there actually has their generator running, which I wouldn't do in an urban area like this. There's another motorhome up here. You can't really see it, you can just see the white roof right there. That motorhome has 2 tickets on the windshield. It's been parked there, I don't know, probably over a year. I walk by it quite often because I do some dog walking in the area, and that particular motorhome doesn't even have valid insurance on it anymore. So really, I don't think it's legal to even be parked here, so I'm very mindful. There's already 2 motorhomes, there's very little room, so I don't want to piss anybody off. So I just come here and enjoy a little bit of time around dogs and in the nice grassy field, and then I get out of here. I'm probably only here for less than 2 hours, which means I should probably get out of here. My time is almost up because I got here at about 4 o'clock and it's 6 now, so time to go. I can't wait to create the next video. Watch and see where we go next. I don't want to blow it for you. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget, always keep moving.